is no longer a class A drug. Okay? If you are hold, police find you with a 10-pound bag of weed. A bag of weed that costs 10 pounds, okay? For personal consumption. You are not arrested in the UK. In the US now, some states have passed laws to legalize the sale of marijuana in certain areas. It has immense pharmaceutical benefits. Yes, the framework is not in place, so now some of these things should be done. But I think as a country, we should really take a second look. First, talk to the developed countries, the pharmaceutical countries, and see what are the benefits and what are the economic benefits of if we are to have a regulation in place to be able to now have some of these cultivation brought under an umbrella for medicinal purposes and exports.
Actually, because I had seen a documentary where I think someone had cancer and they said, well, not a lot, you know.
Well, my
dear,
they dropped. In 2016, there's no debate and there's no doubt on the benefits of weed. The medicinal benefit of weed. Let me put it that way. The medicinal benefit of weed. Okay.
I don't remember something.
I'm not. He's a doctor.
Napo
can give us more information on that. But in the UK, if people are given prescription, okay, to buy weed. Right. So to me, as a country, we should really look at that policy of banning all these things will be banned. Okay. And this has a value.
Okay, all right. There was one that, 2 bags, about 200 and plus, we were told that they had a street value, they were arrested in Dodowa, and it had a street value of about 40,000 cedis. They were meant for export now. Tese, when we, growing up, there are stereotypes, people who have dreadlocks are seen as, weed smokers, that if you smoke weed, you go mad and all of that. Should we be looking at reorientation?
Well, for me, I believe that as a country, we are not yet there.
What do you mean by we're not yet there?
Let's say for us to legalize weed in our society.
But you will make the laws.
Yeah, it will come to us.
Yes.
And I'm saying we are not yet there.
Why?
We are not yet there because of the social implications that currently we are facing as a result of this.
What are they? What are they? I'm interested. What are those social implications we're facing as a result of weed consumption?
You see, most of these criminal activities that are ongoing, if you are to look at the background of almost all these people into these criminal activities, most of them are people who are into weed smoking.
There are doctors, I know physicians, physical trainers who smoke weed. They are in good employment.
Well,
they are not stealing. They are not. Well,
you can use that to justify.
No, I'm not just. I'm just giving you an example of what people.
But you also prohibit alcohol. Then
you are looking at.
You also prohibit alcohol.
It's tough, right?
No, you also prohibit alcohol.
No, but for me, from where I come from,
yeah,
I know the effect of this particular weed.
Okay.
And I would in no way support any legislation that will legalize this.
Okay.
For economic purposes.
For the social effects, for me, outweigh the benefits.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So the social effect outweighs the benefits. All right. I've heard people say that. Now, please, so excited.
Now, why are you laughing?
I've heard people say that. Look, the weed from Ghana is so good, and this is the reason why people we shouldn't even think about legalizing because it's so strong, and that's why they always export. And lots of them are actually cultivating not to consume but to export. Your view on it?
You know why I'm giggling?
No,
I'm giggling because you hosted police TV, right? You seem to have all these friends who don't we and you are not reporting them.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
How do you know it's strong and how do you know it's good?
I'm getting worried that the policeman's best friend is the society.
No, I didn't say that.
Bridget,
that's not what I now. Even before
let
me just
practice what you preach.
I said I know. No, I said I know. Of course, I
you know, it makes it worse, right? that makes you an accessory of a crime.
No. I'm saying that I know.
I am worried.
People have said,
I'm very,
people
very
have
worried.
told me that, yes.
Is that a company you keep?
That a doctor.
You're making it worse, you know. Trying to explain. You're making it worse. Show me the friends you keep bringing, and they do all.
You are one of my friends. You are a doctor. And I mentioned the doctor, so it could be you.
And because I don't smoke.
Exactly.
I don't smoke because of, from childhood I've been asthmatic, and I don't. And I've tried, and I cough, and I even tried cigars once, and it doesn't just gel with my system. That's why I don't do it. But I think that if we want to ban something first, we have to start even thinking about normal cigarette.
Okay.
As a public health hazard. It causes more problems to the smoker and to the one. When you go to a club the following day, you can't go near your clothes. And the secondary effect of smoking on people are as devastating as the people who are smoking themselves. So as a country, we've gone that line. And it's left with restricted. Now we are restricting cigarette smoking in public places and things like that. When you come to the issue of marijuana, I see, my brother was saying something. Societies change, and you don't change quicker than your society.
Sure.
As soon as you start changing quicker than your society, you get killed. So the first person who suggested the earth was round was killed because he was smarter than his society. Lo and behold, when it was found to be true, the guy was dead. If the whole society says you are mad, that is the definition of a madman. It is not what is in the books. If everybody working in TV3 says Bridget is mad, I'm telling you, you go to the psychiatrist and you'll be found mad.
It's true.
Right? Our society hasn't gotten to that stage. For religious purposes, I can't stand homosexuality. That's how I've been brought up. I'll prefer my daughter to go out with a guy than to come anywhere near a woman, or my son to go out with a woman or a lady than to go around any guy. It is me, how I've been brought up, and my religious values frown on that. Right? So my society hasn't got in anywhere near that. Did you hear when the Americans started making gay and lesbian thing part of their age strategy? Our whole president getting furious, statements being made in parliament. Sure. We haven't gotten there. In their country, at a certain time, if you practice that, you are burnt at stake. Society hasn't gotten to that. You know what the Kenyan president told the American president?
Yes.
You have solved your... Let's leave us and let...
Leave us and let...
You get a point. So I haven't heard in America, those who are practicing gays and lesbians, they want to go to church to marry, right? Haven't them saying they want to go to mosque to marry? Right? So it is not everything that we... Yes, it is true. There are medicinal values of almost things. There are medicinal values of things. But let the doctors refine it, take that medicinal thing and administer it to the patient. Right? When I was growing up, I grew up in a den behind my house, in front of my house, or beside my house. Actually, now one of the biggest in my constituency, one of the biggest drug addict areas within my constituency. Go and see human suffering, depravity. So we might get there, but we are not there yet.
And so we shouldn't begin the conversation.
And I'm being told in Parliament that, oh yes, you know why the conversation has begun? Because people like you, the middle class, the excesses of the middle class, they tolerate all these things, and gradually they become decision makers.
No. As the host, please, I'm
not you. I'm not. You didn't hear me. Look, those of us sitting, four of us sitting here.
Yes, we're exposed.
No, we are far advanced socioculturally than most people in this country, whether we like it or not. Our tolerance level is higher than our societies. You would know friends who are gay and you live with them happily. Because look, you have grown up together. I'm just saying that you will. It means that you might meet somebody.
I get
look, I was shocked to my marrow when I got out of my hospital around 11 p.m. St. Mary's, Sprat Street, Paddington, and I saw two women kissing. I nearly fell off the rail tracks. But after a month, I'd gotten so used to seeing male kissing in Paddington that I'd become tolerant. It was so in my face that I've
Had
got
no
to.
choice.
I had no choice. Some of them were my mates treating patients. Some of them. So what would you do? The society has, you've become numb. It's like how Ghanaians are becoming numb to corruption. It is so much in our face that we begin to accept it any day and time. Corruption is, I'm not saying high level, even truck drivers, as soon as the policeman's on, they have 2 cedis in their hand. The policeman hasn't even asked for it. Right? So people get numb to these things. Fortunately, thank God, we are not yet there. And I hope in my generation we'll never get there.
So the
Not
police
you,
should continue.
any bad habit.
So the police should continue, chasing them, imprison them,
You see,
and all of that.
resource
That's
allocation,
absolutely-
you heard what my brother was saying. Resource allocation brings in itself some of these studies. Should a policeman be going to chase somebody? The court of journalists who were smoking around one of the interchanges, a very popular journalist. They catch them. But should policemen be exerting unnecessary things on 1 or 2 individuals smoking, or they should be concentrating on
the
big
farms
sweeps,
like
big
this,
sweeps like
the
that?
farms like this.
It's about resource allocation would even detect determine some of these things like that, because the policeman will not go chasing one person sitting in his or her car with windows rolled. You cannot even. You get the point. But they should go after such massive things.
So speaking of illegality, I mean, these members of parliament will not pass that, so don't.
Because if you pass that, you go face your constituency. You see what they will do.
Don't even think about it. But the police should be doing more of such swoops, and and then we'll put them behind. But until, I don't know if that ever would happen in this country, we're not sure. For now, though, we're not there yet, as Napo said. Now, speaking of illegality. The Business and Financial Times, has a story of crack the whip on illegal mining, right? Illegal mining, and this, even before we get into the details of the story, there are some who have argued that some people have been in this business for well over 30 years. It's still illegal. It's not small scale mining; it's still illegal. Why don't we regularize their activities, get them to pay tax?
We have. There is small scale mining.
I know, but there are still
the
what's
illegal
outside
mining
of
they are
it.
talking about. It's not. You see, I happen to go to the Western region a lot, and we walk on the banks of the Ankobra because we are doing some work there. Okay. Now, if you look at the banks of the Ankobra, you cry for Mother Ghana. It is not about somebody who has gone to the local office of the Mineral Commission and taken a land and doing mining, which is whatever. It is galamsey on the banks of rivers. Some of them are mining alluvial on the bed of the river. Okay, that is what they are talking about. And to me, the presidency came out full-fledged, had the whole presidency arresting people, burning people's trucks. After a month or two, they now said, "Oh, let's leave the thing to the DCEs to now take care of it." Why? Is the presidency too busy to care about Mata Ghana? Look, the laws are there. Go to Ghana Water Resource Commission. The man there cries every day. He says his people will go. He will arrest the people, take it to the police station. As he is 5 minutes down the road, he gets a call that, some big man has called, and the people have been released. Who's that big man? If the presidency is after somebody, the whole earth shakes. If the DC is after somebody, who cares? So the urgency of this matter, we are talking about the Densu River drying up because of illegal mining. We are talking about Ghana Water having problems with now the drought because of illegal mining. Why did the presidency take this issue out of the presidency to DCs?
Okay.
DCs would not do anything. They can't.
Okay. It's not the first time we're talking about illegal mining. I mean, indeed, we keep hearing stories about it. What are we not doing right?
Well, we have the regulatory framework. We have institutions that are supposed to protect our environment. The Environmental Protection Agency is there. The whole thing is the supervisory work is not being done.
I think it was
It's not being
Hussein
done.
when he
And-
became the Minister for Natural Resources.
and for me-
and he went round with people.
You see, it is not about going rounds in a day to bring to the fore for everybody to see what is happening. That will nip the thing in the bud. No. But if you put in the right mechanisms to ensure that those who are operating illegally are not allowed to operate. Now, when you go to some of the areas, what they tell you is that is what we live on. Now, what can we do to make those people within that locality shift from that practice into another venture? And that is what you need to look at. So if I'm the DC for a particular district and illegal mining is very strife, and most of this illegal mining are being done right in the middle of water bodies, contaminating the water sources for us, what do you need to do? The assembly needs to look at how best to ensure that those who are into this illegal mining are brought together and maybe given something that will enable them shift away from that particular practice. And then you put in place sanctions, because once you've been able to take them out, then you can apply the sanctions. If it is farming, group farming, make resources available. Why are you doing this illegal mining in the river that we all take our water from? Do you know the effects? Okay, as an assembly, this is what we intend doing, so that at least you also get something to fend for yourself. Okay. And when that is done, then you can put in place the sanction regime, where you can then go ahead and then punish people.
Yeah, but this has been going on for years.
It is going on because we all know people who are very influential are also part of it.
More powerful than the government. The government is more powerful than the government.
Not more powerful than government.
Exactly.
Okay, but if you have, let's say, security of officials who are supposed to crack the whip, they also go and then they also compromise themselves. You see, if you have chiefs who are also singing the same tune because of what they get out of it, if you have government officials who are supposed to check, and because maybe sometimes they are also benefiting from the process, they also keep quiet. I have a video. In fact, I've been seeing those things normally being showed on TV. But I personally went to the Wasi area, that river, I've forgotten the name, joining the Pra River. And people were right in the middle of the river prospecting for gold. And the whole river was just muddy. And I was like, in those days, Pra River, what? Okay. But that is it. And there's no control. Until we decide to do the right things, these things will continue. But the buck stops with the government. Because, look, people who are into this are mostly people who are very influential. They buy the gadgets for the young men to do the illegal mining. Some members of parliament are involved. Some government officials are involved.
But you can't also sit here and cry, like everybody else. You should be able to help us find the solutions to that. I mean, because you're young.
As a parliamentarian, I don't do the security job.
But you just mentioned it's not just
But do you think that the president should have stayed on it and given it to the DCE?
The president cannot do everything.
No, the presidency.
No. For me, look, the thing is, within most of the communities, okay, and these communities are under district assemblies. That is where development, when it comes to issues about development, it is the district assembly. So if you have an area where illegal mining is ongoing, it is not the duty of the president.
Okay.
The president may visit that area once, but who has oversight? It is the district assembly.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, legal miners, government doesn't get anything revenue from them, and then they are also, going into the legitimate ones, small scale miners, huge, concessions by the others. And we keep talking about it. It's not the first time we're hearing crack the whip on illegal mining. What is it that we're doing so wrong? Why isn't that it looks as though they are more powerful than the government?
Because they are in bed with the government. Whoever you define the government to be. How many of these, you see, one, the most able-bodied soul are in this business, in this country. Young, strong guys are in this business because they have no other alternative. because the education didn't take them to places where they can be employed like me and you, or they are very, very well uneducated or mature illiterates. They are into that business because it pays more than farming. It pays more than farming. And when you look at the structure of our society, the able-bodied people in the society are doing it. What can the chief do? The chief said, oh, this land is mine, so take this. So chiefs are licensing. Right? The DC he wants to crack is called. You can't stop that because it's our people. Because we want votes. I'm not talking about party.
No, I get it.
Everybody wants votes.
I get the point.
So they can't crack. He's the person, the chief criminal among them who is doing the thing, goes to register and has 2 cards. He and his assistant. One goes to NDC, one goes to MPP. Fade black. They can do whatever they like. We can't stop them. Because the policeman also say who will be called, like my brother said. Leave him. Chief Munyasi Njayo. So the policeman also gets his share in the cut. If you go to some of the communities that are involved, you know the currency they use there is dollar.
Okay.
I'm telling you, some sell water in dollar. Because the boys have become rich out of that. It's just that when the gold price tumbled, it's affecting even the work they are doing there. But when the gold price was up, the big men in this country were investing in that. How many people can buy an excavator? And I passed through Kumasi, a certain house. The Chinese are servicing these escalators. Near where me and my brother, we grew up. They have a shop. I was shocked. So if they are doing a bit of policing, look, this whole presidential campaign, I talked to one of them, said, you know what happened? They said that, oh, it was this changing of guards of honor. When NDC came, it was MPP people who were doing it. Now NDC people sacked them. I'm just telling you, go near them and listen to them. Yes. And now, when they managed to destroy MPP business, it is the DCs who are supposed to, who are even in, because the DCE, right, can be sacked tomorrow by somebody sitting in Flagstaff House. If the DC was elected with a defined tenure, you might get 1 or 2 sterling DCs who can, like he's saying, who can bear down on this. But the DCE, his position itself, it depends upon somebody saying this. So somebody in the party office in Accra, UDC, my boys are doing this for my community. So
you're painting
we are in
a picture.
It is more than gloomy.
Okay. So
we are in a vicious.
So what do we do? We throw our hands in the air and say, okay,
that's why I come back.
Cycle after all.
That's why I come back to my brother when he said that it's the presidency that should front it. Okay. All those gold and equipment that was seized, what happened to it? Come to think of it.
Isn't that Chinese?
Half of them was returned back to the people.
So we need a moral crusader. Okay. Somebody who is not thinking about votes, who is thinking about the future of this country. Because for the way we are going, very soon, look, Boti Falls in one of the papers, gone. Boti Falls, no, not a single drop of water.
All right.
So where are we going?
All right. Napoleon, Dr. Matthew.
No, not Napoleon.
Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is a member of Parliament for Menchia South. Thank you. Good morning to you as well, and thank you very much for joining for the discussion. Tete Chai, member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central. Thank you very much as well for joining us this morning. And Mr. Kojo in South Poku, he's an energy expert, and he joined us as well. Thank you, gentlemen.